Good morning, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. Great that you've joined me. We have an amazing master topic for the week, and that is what you say, what you do, who you are. And that's the topic for the week. And the granular topic for today is Say It Straight, Delivering Hard Truths with Heart, Series 4, Show 16, Episode number 3. Welcome, everyone. Be sure to check out believemeachieve.com for, of course, more of my amazing, you know it, inspiring creations. So definitely check that out. That's believemeachieve.com. You can check that out anytime that you're not watching me here live or another show. And I think you guys will find that really interesting. Oh, and by the way, if you just gotten up or if you're up for a while and maybe you're a little hungry, why not head over to the kitchen and get something delicious? Maybe hot, maybe cold, maybe sweet, maybe tart, maybe healthy or not. Totally up to you. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and not only a podcast host, but also a podcast coach. And in this episode, I'm going to dive very deep into the art of delivering hard truths with heart. Whether you're a leader, a colleague, or simply someone navigating life's tougher conversations, these principles can transform the way you communicate and connect. Um, I'll explore the power of honesty, the balance between compassion and clarity, and how you can create a culture of openness that drives trust and, of course, understanding. If you've ever found yourself avoiding uncomfortable truths or struggling to express your thoughts with care, this episode is for you. So let's just dive in, everyone, and unlock the power of saying it straight with heart. Number one, the power of honesty. Why saying it straight matters. Honesty is the foundation of strong relationships, whether in the workplace or in personal connections. Saying it straight is not just about being blunt, it's about being transparent and truthful while respecting the other person's ability to handle the information. When you communicate openly, it fosters trust and reduces misunderstandings. People appreciate clarity in our world, and when you say things, they are just going to be more attuned. You empower others to respond in an authentic way. The power of honesty is that it eliminates uncertainty, it promotes integrity, and it nurtures respect. By choosing to be honest, you pave the way for deeper and, of course, more meaningful conversations that can help both parties grow. Number two, the balance between compassion and clarity. Delivering hard truths isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. Striking the right chord and balance between compassion and clarity is essential for effective communication. Compassion allows you to deliver tough messages without causing unnecessary harm, while clarity ensures that the message is understood in its entirety. It's not about sugarcoating the truth, but about being mindful of the other person's feelings. When you approach a sensitive subject with empathy, you show the person you care while still maintaining the integrity of your message. This balance is key to maintaining both honesty and human connection in your relationships. Number three, creating safe spaces for hard conversations. In any conversation where difficult truths are on the table, it's crucial to create an environment where both parties feel safe. This doesn't just mean physical space, it's about psychological safety. When people feel safe, they're more likely to engage openly and listen carefully rather than defensively or reactively. A safe space allows for vulnerability, which is essential for authentic dialogue. Establishing trust and showing understanding helps build the safety, allowing both sides to express their thoughts freely without fear of judgment or any kind of backlash. When you foster the kind of environment like this, the outcome of tough situations is more likely to be constructive. Okay. Number four, delivering hard truths with a positive intent. It's easy to deliver a tough message with frustration or anger, especially if the truth is hard to convey. But the most effective communication happens when your intention is rooted in positivity. When delivering hard truths with positive intent, you focus on solutions, growth, and well being of everyone involved. It's about providing the truth in a way that shows care and a desire to improve the situation by emphasizing your constructive intent. You reduce the likelihood of defensiveness and open the door for collaboration. Even the hardest truths can be received better when they are framed with an optimistic, future focused perspective. Number five, empathy comes first, facts second. When delivering hard truths, start with empathy. It's essential. Before diving into the facts, take a moment to acknowledge the other person's feelings or situations. And this doesn't mean downplaying the seriousness of the truth, but rather showing that you understand where they're coming from. Empathy builds rapport, makes the conversation more human, and prepares the other person to receive the facts more openly. By connecting emotionally, first, you allow the other person to feel heard and understood, which sets the stage for a more receptive and productive conversation. Facts without empathy can feel cold and impersonal and just kind of thrown out there. So always prioritize understanding before you speak. Number six, the risk of avoiding the truth. Avoiding hard truths might seem like a way to protect someone's feelings in the short term, but in the long term, consequences can be damaging from doing that. When we avoid the truth, we create more uncertainty, misunderstandings, and even resentment. People can sense when something is being left unsaid, and that can erode trust over time. While it may be uncomfortable to face difficult truths, confronting them head on allows for clarity, resolution, and growth. Avoiding the truth may seem like the easier path, but it ultimately leads to more complicated issues down the road. Facing the truth fosters stronger, more resilient relationships. And that's what everybody wants, isn't it? Sure it is. Number seven, practicing active listening. Hard conversations are not just about speaking, they're equally about listening. Active listening is a crucial skill for delivering hard truths with heart. It involves fully engaging with the other person, not just hearing their words, but understanding their emotions and perspectives. Active listening allows you to respond thoughtfully and tailor your message in a way that respects their feelings and needs. You see, this helps create a dialogue rather than a monologue, and it can transform a difficult conversation into a collaborative one. Listening deeply shows that you care about the other person's response and are committed to a mutual understanding. Number eight, handling reactions with patience. When you deliver hard truths, expect a range of reactions. Some people may react defensively, emotionally, or even with anger. It's crucial to handle these reactions with patience. People need time to process difficult information, and to push them too quickly can escalate tensions. Allow them to express their feelings and be prepared to offer reassurance. Patience doesn't mean tolerating negativity, it means giving space for emotions to settle before moving forward with a solution. By remaining calm and, of course, patient, you demonstrate that you're not only delivering the truth, but also respecting the emotional journey that comes with it. Number nine, the long term benefits of saying it straight. While delivering hard truths can be uncomfortable in the moment, the long term benefits are immense. Open and honest communication leads to stronger relationships, greater trust, and a more authentic connection with others. Over time, saying it straight encourages mutual respect and understanding. It fosters an environment where people are more likely to engage honestly themselves. The more you practice saying it straight, the easier it becomes, and the more your relationships benefit from it. In the long run, being truthful and clear strengthens bonds and leads to a healthier, more transparent environment. Number 10, guys, number 10 is one of my favorites, the role of self awareness in delivering hard truths. Yes, the role of self awareness in delivering hard truths. I think when we think about this, it can confuse a lot of people. To effectively deliver hard truths, it's essential to have a high level of self awareness. Okay. Understanding your own emotions, biases, and triggers helps you manage how you communicate with others. Being self aware allows you to choose the right words, the tone, and the approach, ensuring that your message is received as intended. When you are mindful of your own reactions and how they influence your conversation, you can maintain control and composure, even in challenging situations. Self awareness also helps you recognize when to pursue when to pause, when to reflect, and when to adjust your approach to ensure that the conversation remains productive. Now, this seems like a lot, okay? It is. And what I want you to understand here is that you can do this, but it's not something that you're going to do overnight, right? It's not something you're going to do overnight. And so, what I want to do to kind of drive home these points is I would like to give you some personal stories. And these stories hopefully will make it resonate with you a little more and allow you to connect with it. Does that make sense? All right. So let's start off with our first one. Our first one, when I come to think about, all these things, I know that this, like, it puts a lot of people on the defensive. All right. Not because they want to be on the defensive, but they are because they feel like they're being challenged. And although that sounds like something that, you know, is easy, it's not, guys. It is not. When I think about the power of honesty, why saying it straight matters, honesty is the foundation of strong relationships, whether in the workplace or personal connections, right? It's not just about being blunt, as I told you. It's about understanding the truth, right? And understanding the truth, I think, is hard for some people. I think that's hard, and I think that's probably the best way to say it. When I think about the power of honesty, in all reality, there's a couple stories that actually come to mind. I was trying to pick one that I think would, hit home, just the right way. And I have a lot of them, guys. I have an awful lot of them. But I was trying to find one that was going to really resonate with my entire audience, and something that would be something everybody would pick up, like immediately. And so when I was pondering over this, when I was getting ready to do the episode before, I said, what story can I tell about this? Because this is whether you're going to take this or leave it. I know. So I need to make the story about something that was friendly enough, but something that's not going to be too sugar-coated. So I came up with one. I remember a time when I had to tell a longtime client that their expectations were no longer realistic based on their current budget. I dreaded the conversation, fearing I might lose the relationship or the client. But instead of dancing around the issue, I laid out the facts, kindly but directly. To my surprise, they thanked me for my honesty and sincerity, and actually asked for advice on how to restructure their plan. That moment solidified my belief that people appreciate honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, because it opens the door to trust, respect, and progress, right? The balance between compassion and clarity. Years ago, I had to let someone go from my company I was leading. I cared about this person. I thought they were doing good work. Unfortunately, I felt that they've had some side issues that were starting to affect, let's say, their productivity. And I didn't want to hurt them, but I knew I had to be honest about their fit, how it changed. I wrote down exactly what I needed to say, kind of the points, and I practiced delivering it with empathy. When I met with him, I made sure that he knew how much I appreciated his effort over the years and that something had changed. And this is why I had to make this decision. The balance of compassion and clarity turned a moment that could be awkward into something that's not hurtful, but something that could be mutually able to understand a thread and allow someone to even appreciate that. Number three, creating safe spaces for hard conversations. One of the most effective leadership shifts I made came from realizing that people won't open up unless they feel safe. I once had a team member who was underperforming, but I didn't know what to tell him. And I knew they were struggling. I started creating regular one-on-one check-ins, asking open questions, and genuinely listening. Eventually, they shared what was going on in their life, and we worked through it together. That safe space gave them the freedom to be honest and turn their performance around. Safety isn't just kindness, it's power. The reason that didn't work with the previous employee is because I had tried all these things and he just wasn't responding. And it was always like yesing me. Number four, delivering hard truths with a positive intent. A close friend once asked for feedback on his business pitch. I knew there were major flaws in how he was presenting, but I didn't want to crush his spirit. Instead of focusing on what was wrong, I focused on how he could improve and made sure he knew my goal was not to crush him, but to help him succeed. I said, I'm sharing this because I believe in you and your vision. That framing made all the difference. He took my feedback seriously, improved dramatically, and truth, when delivered with a good heart, becomes a catalyst instead of criticism. I always say consistent constructive feedback is the key to anyone's success, including your own. Empathy first, facts second. There was a time when a client misunderstood our contract and was extremely upset. By instinct was, of course, to immediately show them the terms, but instead I paused and acknowledged their frustration. I understood why you'd be upset. I told them, and I'd feel the same way if I were in your shoes. Once they felt heard, I shared the facts calmly and clearly. We ended the conversation in a good place, and that moment reminded me that people hear facts better when they feel understood first. So I know a lot of times there's policies, there's procedures, but we have to treat everyone as a person first. The risk of avoiding the truth, it's devastating. I once had someone I was working with, was actually someone I was coaching, who wasn't pulling their weight. I would give them the homework and they weren't doing it. But I kept avoiding the conversation, hoping that it would just get a magic fix. We've been working for a few weeks. It wasn't changing. Instead, the situation just went downhill and just worsened. And their resentment started to build up toward me. I was getting frustrated. I need to do something. When I finally spoke up, it was messier than it had to be. If I had been honest earlier, we might have resolved things more easily, or at least with less frustration. Avoiding the truth didn't protect anyone. It only prolonged the pain. The lesson learned, delays hurt more than discomfort. The person didn't chastise me too badly because they knew the only reason I wasn't telling them is because I was trying to protect their feelings. But what they told me is, hey, John, when I'm doing something wrong, I want to know. And I said, you're right. I have to tell you in a polite way that you need to change. Number 7, predicting the truth comes from practicing active listening. During a conflict resolution session between two colleagues of mine, I found myself wanting to jump in with advice. But instead, I forced myself to just sit back and listen to what I was hearing from each person, what they were saying. By paraphrasing their concerns and reflecting their emotions back, I helped them feel validated, and they ended up finding common ground on their own. That moment taught me that listening isn't passive, it's an active form of respect, and sometimes it's the most powerful thing you can offer. You see, when people just gab or people talk, they're not hearing themselves. They hear the words, but the brain is not processing the emotions from them. Number 8, handling reactions with patience. I once gave a team member some consistent constructive feedback, and they didn't take it well. They were a little defensive and upset. My first instinct was to explain myself more forcefully, but I held back. I gave them the space. I followed up later and let them know I was still there for them. Eventually, they came back around with a calmer perspective and thanked me for not pushing. That patience made me look like a hero and a huge difference to them. People don't always react well in a moment of frustration or confrontation. So it's how you respond that can make or break a relationship. When we get dealt these cards, and I've said this before, it's not the situation we're in, but how we handle the situation that helps our growth, that builds our character, and what defines us and allows people to make the choice of whether they want to be around us because of the energy that we're currently exuding. Number 9, a long-term benefit of saying it straight. Years after I had an honest conversation with a former colleague about their communication style, they reached out to me and thanked me. They told me it was hard to hear at the time, but it made them more self aware and later on to change the way they presented in their later roles. That's when it hit me. The value of hard truths isn't always immediate, but if you deliver them with heart and integrity, their impact can echo for years later. Truth delivered with care builds trust that stands the test of time. Most people, when you give them feedback, even if it's hard, if you're doing it from your heart and you're doing it from a place of concern, they're not going to stay mad at you. They're not going to like the idea. I remember this person that was on a team, and it was a fellow teammate. We were playing soccer, and I said to him, "Look, I'll call him Joe. That was his name." I say, "Joe, you know, when you get to the goal, all right, if you can't make a direct kick, pass it to one of us. I know that you want to keep dribbling in closer and you want to make the shot because you feel proud and you want to make the victory a goal. But what happens is we've seen in many times that the other team just comes and scoffs the ball away from you. The rest of the team gets frustrated not only with the game, but with you because we're right there. We say we're open, we're open, we're open. And you just ignore us like, I don't know, we're a hot potato or something. So I'm saying this as a friend and as a teammate. I want to win more games. And the only way we're going to win more games is if we play together as a team. That's not just me. That's not just you. That's everybody playing together. When the ball's around me, I'm going to pass it to you. I hope you'll do the same to me. We win a goal. We win the game as a team, not as a player. Of course, I may have a highlight. You may have a highlight. But don't expect every moment to be a highlight. Just try to pitch your way. If a highlight happens, great. But don't, let's say, break something, which could be a great setup, just because you want to attempt to make it. And you know that it's probably a very hard chance, and you know what, that you will make it. So pass the ball to us. We're here to help. Number 10, the role of self-awareness in delivering hard truths. There was a time I had to confront someone, but I realized I was more upset about how it affected me than about the actual issue. I took time to reflect on what I felt triggered about. And when things are emotional, you have to get the emotions out before you can talk to people. And that helped me separate my emotions from the facts. When I met with the person I finally spoke, I was calmer and clearer and more compassionate. And being self aware let me show up as the best version of myself. It reminded me that you can't deliver hard truths effectively unless you first get real with yourself. And another big point that I learned is that it's not the person that's doing something wrong. Okay, none of us are perfect. But it was the behavior I wanted to change. And when I said, "Hey, Mike, listen, you're a great guy and you do amazing work with this. And whenever this happens. So is there any way we could just change the behavior? You're great, but if we could just change that one little characteristic, I think you'd be a superstar." Their eyes lit up. They changed that one little thing, and they became a superstar of the team. You could be on a team. You could be in a family. You could be volunteering. It could be anywhere. Our perceptions, ladies and gentlemen, they create our reality. Our perceptions create reality. That's a hard truth for a lot of people to understand. And I've said this a lot of times, right? I said this a lot of times. Most people want to do everything themselves. Most people. Because they want to enjoy the victory. They want to enjoy that feeling they get, right? But sometimes we need a little help from our friends. No pun intended from that great song. We just need a little help from our friends, right? Well, at the core of meaningful conversations lies the power of honesty. Speaking the truth isn't about being blunt, as I said. It's about being transparent, okay? While also showing respect. So from building trust and relationships to eliminating confusion and fostering growth, honest communication creates clarity. When we pair truth with intention, we allow others to respond authentically, laying the groundwork for deeper, more constructive connections. Balancing compassion with clarity, that's not easy. Delivering tough messages requires a delicate balance between empathy and clarity, as we've seen today. Compassion doesn't dilute a message, it shapes how it's delivered. By creating a safe space, listening actively, and approaching conversations with patience, we honor both the truth that we stand for and the truth that other people want to be revered as. And that's important for giving it and receiving it. This balance transforms uncomfortable situations and talks into opportunities for understanding, collaborations, and emotional connection. Long term growth through truth telling. Adopt it. You'll never go wrong. Avoid hard truths might feel easier, but it often creates a long term challenge. Like you tell someone they're doing a great job, and then suddenly, when somebody else finds out that they're really not that good, and you knew they weren't that good, they're like, well, John, why didn't you tell me? They start losing respect for you. Embracing difficult conversations with self awareness and a focus on positive intent paves the way for stronger bonds and mutual respect. The long term benefits, such as improved trust, transparency, and emotional resilience, are well worth the initial discomfort when we lead with heart. Truth becomes a catalyst for transformation. Let me say that again. When we choose to lead with our heart, truth becomes a catalyst for transformation. I got to say that again. When we lead with truth, okay, the most important thing, we have to lead with our heart first. So in order to lead with truth, we have to lead with our heart. Truth becomes the catalyst for transformation. That's powerful, guys. That is so powerful. Why don't people do it? They're afraid. They're afraid of what somebody might think. They're afraid that if they criticize something that they're going to be looked down upon, right? That's the real reason, guys. It's not because they don't want to do it. It could also be the fact that they have a great bond with somebody and they feel that if they do that, they're going to break that bond. I got news for you guys. If you break a bond because of that and you're close with somebody, that person was never your friend in the beginning. Never. The fact that you're second guessing yourself means you're not really sure about your friendship and the relationship you really have. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you every single time I go live and I create content. Please do check out believemeachieve.com for, of course, more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you real soon.